PvP in Escape from Tarkov is brutal and can be really hard to master. And if you've ever watched a YouTube video or a streamer and wondered why it looks so easy when they do it, but you continue to struggle, hopefully this video will help. This is another one of my lessons from Beyond the Grave, where we take a look at clips from my stream where I died and try to figure out what went wrong and what I can learn from that situation. So let's dive right in. So what you'll learn with a lot of Tarkov PvP is that little things really do go a long way. When you're watching some of the best players in the world, you might not even notice some of the habits that they have might be imperceptible to you. But once you identify them and once you figure out some of these little things, working on them and getting better at them can actually be really easy and can drastically increase your survivability in fights. And in this video, we are talking about peeking angles. So the way this works is I'll pull up a clip, we'll just like watch part of the clip, and then we'll go back and break down that fight. So let's take a look at the first clip here. Dude, he put the grenade away. So a lot to unpack with this clip, actually. So the context here is I knew that my friends had died, so I knew there was somebody over here. I opened this door, which is normally closed, and I hear them moving around, and then we kind of get into this lull, this stalemate where I'm in a powerful position here. I'm on a right side peak, and I can kind of bail to my left and get to cover. I don't know really what position they're in. They don't want to give it up. I don't think I know that there's two at this point. And so we get into this lull. And here's the thing. So obviously I peaked that angle way too wide. And that's kind of the big thing that we're talking about. The big overarching thing we're talking about in the video is that look how far I extend away from cover. And I even start walking down this hallway. Sometimes I just forget to let go of the W key. And that's actually kind of an interesting point here with this clip. I think a lot of times with Tarkov, you hear a lot of the advice being like push, Tarkov favors the aggressor, peeker's advantage, bad netcode, abuse the netcode. And I think a lot of people think that the only two ways to play the game are to like go Giga Rat and just not move ever, or the W key Chad, where you always just have to kind of put your face in the enemy's face. And this is one of those situations where I should have been aggressive to a point here, but I should never give up every single advantage I have. I should never give myself no escape. This ended up being a really smart play from a two-man where one person pulled the pin of a grenade. And, you know, it's really easy to push people when they pull a nade because you're locked into that animation. And that's kind of a great way to bait, and it worked. They baited me out of that kind of stalemate, and I pushed, but this push was really ugly. Even if it was one person, if I didn't have a helmet on, I'm dead here. Like, even if it was just one person that pulled it out, put the nade back, because I had to push so far down the hallway and wrap the corner, and because I just kept pushing forward, if I didn't have a helmet on, this first guy kills me. It takes all 30 bullets for me to kill that guy, and now I'm completely out of ammo. I wasn't pain killed. I have to back off. And so this is where this mistake of pushing too wide kind of like exponentially makes all of the other little mistakes that I made worse. If I swing this corner much tighter and just take a quick right side peek and I see that guy, I'm probably going to have much more accurate shots because I'm not going to be walking around. And if this guy shoots at me and maybe blacks out my leg, or his teammate blacks out my leg, well, I'm like, okay, I should have had painkillers going. I can immediately just back up behind this corner, and now I'm at least behind a little bit of cover, and I can pop, you know, a Propital or something. And the fact that it took all 30 rounds for me to kill this guy, I didn't have time to reload after the second guy. So yes, multiple mistakes were made in this clip, but I didn't position myself in a place where that I could fix or make up for any of those mistakes. So this is just a situation that I obviously am doing all the time and still need to work on, but something I see a lot of other players too. We just get in our mind, PvP, push, maybe there's an open opportunity, I have to get in there, and we push way too far out of cover, we way overexpose ourselves, and then every little mistake just builds on each other and we're in a really bad situation. So this is the first clip. I have another clip similar to this that we'll check out right now. I don't know how to like rotate. Oh. I killed one, I died. So this is another situation that kind of shows that making the mistake of peeking too wide just continues to kind of stack on top of other potential mistakes or other bad situations. I called out right here at the beginning of the clip that I don't really know how to rotate. I don't play reserve very often, and I know that the underground here is just a system of connected tunnels. I know that there's some guys here at the other end, but I just don't really know how to get there. And I'm worried if I just start running around or fumbling around that I'm going to give away my position and he's going to know where I am. So I kind of stand my ground here a little bit, and which is fine. And I did a few things right here. Once again, one little mistake can completely ruin a million good mistakes. This guy comes out of nowhere. I don't know if he's with this guy or just a third party. We're able to eliminate that guy. And then we try to move with cover here. We go behind these sandbags so I don't give this guy an opportunity to get an angle on me. I do a quick run jump to the cover that I know I have. And I end up spotting this guy. It's reserve. It's really, really dark. And right here as I peek this, he's kind of really overexposed here, actually. But I hadn't seen him yet. And it's so dark that it's hard to see him. And I'm rotating once again. It was smart of me. And this is the right way to peek, which is smaller peaks where your momentum basically just carries you right back into cover. I didn't peek and stand still. I peeked and I knew that I wanted to get back into cover. Now that didn't give me very much of an opportunity to shoot this guy. So then I crouched because I want to change my elevation, because if that guy is basically holding the head glitch, if he knows, you know, he just saw me, so he knows what my head height is going to be. I crouch, I give it a little bit of time, just 1 second, so that he, you know, is maybe a little bit put on the back foot of not knowing when I'm going to peek. I do a quick peek and just randomly shoot. This is an example of a much better peek. I'm very tight on the angle here. I do it really quickly. I didn't even see him. I was just, it's so dark down there. I just sent the shot. And then immediately after that, I do an awful peek where I walk way too wide out of that left-hand cover. He's far enough away. I don't get any audio. Once again, he knows that approximate head height because he just saw me and he's pre-aimed there. He now has a right side angle. He's a little, actually, he's pretty far off of his angle as well, but he's got the peak. He's like owning the angle because, you know, he's peeking and I'm not there. And I walk way too far to the left here. And by the time I spot him, once again, I'm already moving back into cover and I've given him the opportunity. If you've ever been in a situation where you're in a fight with a guy and that guy keeps peeking, but every time he peeks, by the time your brain registers he's peeked and you shoot, he's back into cover. That is the benefit of doing these very, very tight, very, very quick peeks. And there's a few people, I think No Generals on YouTube here has some pretty cool tutorials on how to peek and gain information and peek super quickly and super tight on the angles. And that can be really important, but in general, it's just, you don't want to walk away. I'm exposing every single part of my body here, and I'm not utilizing the left hand, the left shoulder swap, which makes these left hand peeks even better. So a little bit of a same story here. A bunch of good decisions. I got a good kill even, and one wrong decision to peek that super wide got me there. If I had peeked it much tighter and I saw that guy shoot at me, I could have basically completely disengaged with this fight or made a decision to be like, okay, this guy's got really tight angles. Maybe I should go for the rotate or whatever. So last clip we'll look at is kind of showcasing the opposite, a little bit of better decision making for me where I pick up a few good kills. So we'll look at that right now.
Grenade above you.
Ooh, he's bottom floor. Oh, that was a really bad nade. There's two. I don't know if I killed that second guy.
Think the other guy was farther?
That guy's dead.
Nice shot, Jesse.
Jesse throws like a girl. That guy's
Great
also
shots,
dead.
Jesse.
So this situation, we end up walking away with the 2 kills here. It's funny because you kind of see me make some of those mistakes right off the rip as we initially approach these guys. And then you see me basically tighten up and correct them. this very first peek, when I roll up, we knew there was a guy in here, and I thought he was to that left side. And because I thought he was to that left, I kind of swing really wide, and I don't really properly clear this corner. Now, I got lucky, a lot of luck, not a whole lot of skill sometimes, that the guy that was actually around this corner wasn't already peeking it. I think he's to the left, and now I'm able to basically get some shots. So then I rotate around to the other end and basically make the same mistake again. I take this left peek, I swap to my left shoulder. I don't know that there's two at this moment. I'm thinking that I want to take this angle pretty wide because the guy is down this hallway right here. But I didn't properly clear it, didn't notice that there was a second guy here. Once again, get lucky again that this guy misses his shots. And then we start to tighten up and actually kind of do the right things. You'll notice right here, this is a much tighter peek by me than that first one. Much tighter peek, and then I go for a wider peek because I own the angle at this point. I'm looking down, nobody's peeking, I'm pre-ADS, so I'm in a little bit of a better position. I don't know if this guy then has moved across. That's in my vision. All I'm going to be able to see is if this guy moved left. So then I take it a little bit wider, and I just keep holding. I kind of take it to check with my peripheral if he's moved over here, but I'm still holding the angle, and because I'm pre-aiming there, I get to flick up and take that shot before he gets me. And then we kind of do the same thing. We rotate around. Now, there's not a lot of cover here, and pushing up to the hard cover, which is, you know, this door right here, is I'm gonna have to go through this bush. This guy's gonna hear me. He's probably pre-aimed on me. So I'm taking the angle pretty wide, but two things are different here. One, I'm pre-aimed much quicker now. So I know that there's this little hole that's gonna show up here, that little food room or whatever. So I make sure that I'm ADS'd before I swing this corner. I get lucky catching him in a sprint, and boom. And then the second thing here is on angles or on peaks like this, distance away from the actual cover and away from the peak can actually be extremely beneficial. If you're only peeking an angle like right up against the cover, if you make a left shoulder swap, you get into this weird, awkward thing where if your gun kind of barrel stuffs, it swaps back to the right shoulder, and then you back up and have to swap to the left shoulder. And the second reason why distance is good is because it oftentimes can confuse your enemy a little bit onto where you are exactly. Obviously, if somebody's really close to you, they take up more of your screen. The farther away they are, they take up less of your screen, making it harder to hit headshots, and it changes where the position of your head is. So if you're taking an angle really, really close, maybe your head height is a little bit more predictable. In a situation like this where I don't have much cover, I want to make myself a little bit of a harder target to hit. So taking the angle with some distance, it's risky because I don't have very many options here other than to just bail back to the right here. But because I pre-aimed it and because I was a little bit more tight here, I was able to clean up this kill as well. This is definitely not the sexiest two-man of all time, but this video is all about peaks. Peeking is, once again, like we said in the beginning, a behavior that you can identify and is really easy to practice. Just go full LARP mode and try to put that in your brain where every single angle, you're going to peek it really tight and you're going to clear your corners or you're going to clear the area before you move up, and find that middle balance between the W key, Chad, and, you know, not overextending yourself. Because I promise you, if you watch some of the best players, whoever you think of when I say watching the best players, if you watch them, you'll notice that even though they're a Shift W Chad, they do this more than you think. They're not overexposing. They're not taking angles too wide. So I hope that this helped. I hope that this is just something, one of those little habits that you can start working on, start identifying, and give you basically a second chance in these fights when you would have just died if you had overexposed. Let me know down in the comments below if this video helped or if you feel like you do this all the time and you need to start working on it. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. That stuff really helps me out a ton. I stream Escape from Tarkov 6 days a week on Twitch and here on YouTube. My links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play Tarkov with, our Discord is an awesome place to be. That is linked down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.